4:30 a.m. Thanksgiving Day, November 24th, 2016. A lone semi-truck rolls down the Interstate 5 when someone in the beams of the lights makes the driver slam on the brakes. A woman in a sweatshirt bursts from the shoulder, running, clawing at the air, screaming for help.
Oh, my God.
He jumps out and the sight stops him cold. She's skeletal, her face bruised and swollen, a chain coiled around her waist, with one arm bound. He fumbles for his radio, calls 911 and presses the phone into her shaking hand. Between sobs, she whispers a name that will change everything forever. Sherri Papini. This, Scotty boy, is of course the case of that one whisper. Sherri Papini.
And it's going to change everything forever.
Forever.
Oh, my goodness.
Ever heard of the butterfly effect?
I've heard of it.
Well, get used to it.
All right.
Okay. That's a new catchphrase.
Get used to
Get
it.
used to it.
You heard of it?
You heard of it, Scotty boy?
Get used to it.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Not Another Crime Podcast. I'm Sammy Peterson.
I'm Scott Williams.
I'm not.
A journalist or...
I don't know.
What not
I don't think
are
we
you?
did very well on that intro, but last time I think we nailed it.
Yeah, I think we nailed it.
I think we nailed it last time. So whatever. Copy and paste here.
Done.
Edit it.
Now.
Here. Yeah, that's right. But I love calling you Scotty Boy in that intro. How'd you feel about that?
Scotty is my least favourite nickname
Oh,
ever in the whole
really?
wide world.
Okay. What do you prefer?
There's very few people in the world that get away with calling me that without violence.
Oh, no. Why, Scott? You just don't like it? It's never been your thing?
I just think it's a lazy nickname for someone named Scott,
Yeah, that's true.
right? That's and when my and,
What about
and
Scotty Boy? I added boy at the end.
that was nice.
Yeah,
I,
it's a nice touch.
I made the terrible mistake when I was a young man of trying to get my own nickname going. So because our surname was Williams,
Yes.
my dad was called Mr. Willie. Right?
Yeah,
I know,
sure.
very amusing for the primary
Hilarious.
school that he worked at. And so I tried to get the name Wonka going, right? Willy Wonka.
That's way better.
Way better,
Yeah.
but all of the kids realised that that was only one letter away of the person that I was trying to be by finding my own nickname.
I
So
see.
became Wanker.
Yes, okay.
And that was terrible. So I don't know. You can,
I like someone that starts their own nickname, though. I think it's so funny for someone going, oh, my God, do you notice how, like, I'm moving over here? Why don't we call me the Skater? Everyone's
Yeah.
like, why?
I think we called me Crabman at some
Everyone
point.
called me
didn't we, on the
Crabman.
podcast.
Oh, Crabman.
Remember?
Crabman's fun.
Yep, that was my superpower, was moving sideways. I think that's right.
Crabman's quite fun. It's just so funny when someone tries it out. I remember a friend of mine was telling me that he wanted to have his nickname as Donuts, and no one
Right.
ever went for it.
Yeah.
Well, we could call me Donut. He was just, and he positioned himself as eating a donut one time around other people, and was like, "We should just call me Donuts." So no one went for it. It's like, no, you can't push it that hard.
That's a lot of work, mate.
And kids will know.
Yeah.
They go, we're not calling you that.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah. We're calling you Fetch now. We're calling you Fetch.
Gonna call you Fetch.
We're calling the guy that couldn't make it happen. That's what we're calling you.
The only two that I've ever really had that have stuck, like when I worked at BCF for a
Yep.
while, there was several Scots and I was the oldest, so everyone just called me Senior.
Yeah,
that was
right.
my nickname for a while there, and for a while after my time at Her Majesty's Hotel.
Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to call it.
A Magistrate's Hotel.
Her Magistrate's Hotel. I had the nickname Bags, but you have to read the book.
Yep.
Linked below.
Mr. Ordinary goes to jail.
That's the one. To find out why I was nicknamed Bags.
Yeah, okay. That's a good sizzle.
Yeah.
It's good forward
It's
sell
good
for
sizzle.
that.
Yeah.
I just love anyone that tries to get a nickname started, and it's so funny when it fails.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. Because I wanted to change my name. At one point, I wanted to change my name to my middle name, which was Blake.
Yep.
And I was like, everyone would just happily call me Blake.
Yeah, of course they
I
would.
tried it for a week. No one called me Blake.
Right.
That's so sad
Yeah.
that no one ever went. And then I'm like, I think I just put it on Diggs because I'm like, his full name is Missy Dickens, and I call
Yeah.
him Dibs. So I've
Dibs,
made a
yeah.
nickname for the nickname of the nickname,
Yeah.
really.
We all do that with our dogs, though.
Really forcing it on our dogs.
I think I said on the last episode that my dog's name's Lupita, but she
Yeah.
never gets called that. She
Loopy?
gets called Lupe, Loopy,
yep.
Loops,
Yep.
Little.
Yep.
Yeah, everything except that.
Yeah, anything except her name.
Yeah, she gets her full name if she's in trouble.
Yeah. Now, of course, I do always say this at the start of the podcast, and it's probably too late to say this, but if you want to skip ahead and just listen to the story instead of our gear on nicknames, then you can do that. The time code is in the show notes. Now, I have a little bit of question for you now because it relates to your book.
Okay.
G and I recently did an episode. G's not here today, sadly.
Yep. It is sad.
Just mention that, just in case you're wondering if she's really quiet right now.
I'm the third wheel standing.
Yeah, that's right. About James Frey.
Yes, we did. You did, and I said to you I needed to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
So when I was writing my book, Mr. Ordinary Goes Today, I'll link below, is a biography.
Yes,
the story about my time in prison, and when I submitted the transcript, my publisher said to me, "Okay, we've just got to go through a few things here. We've just got to make sure that you haven't identified anybody that hasn't given you permission to identify them.
Yeah,
and we've got to do the Frey test."
That was called.
That's the Frey test. That's what she called it, and I had no idea what that was. I actually had no idea until I listened to the episode and went, "Wait."
Oh, you didn't know until that point?
Nah, I'm like, that's why this is called this. So what the Frey test was for this publisher was we marry up what you're talking about with the timeline that we can get from public record of how long you were in jail.
Yes.
So that we can see that it is sort of like you haven't put in 3 years worth of stuff and you're only in jail for 9 months. They do that, and they basically reference stuff that they can find on the internet against the story to test how real it is.
Okay, sure.
And they do it, so they generally, what she said was that we get an independent person, they check the veracity of some of the facts that you've thrown in there, if there's times that you've mentioned or dates or things specific.
Come up with a nickname for yourself that doesn't exist.
With a nickname for yourself.
They called me donuts in prison. They go, no, they didn't.
No, they definitely didn't. They might have said those nuts. Am I right?
That's nice. So funny. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so they do it, and they called it a Frey test, and I had no idea that that's what that was or how it existed.
That's so interesting because people that don't know, A Million Little Pieces was his biography. They called it an autobiography at the time, and then as it went, they called it a memoir. But as time went on, they went, maybe he wasn't in prison for that long. Maybe that didn't really happen. Maybe that didn't really happen. In that circumstance, we talked about it a lot on the podcast. Do you think that a book that like you wrote, if it wasn't put through the Frey test, do you think that it's still helpful for people if it's not completely the truth? What are your thoughts on that?
Look, it's not a documentary, right? Yeah. Like the memoir I wrote was never purported to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. It was. It's based on my diary that I wrote at the time. So most of that's reasonably accurate.
Yeah,
and based on things I remembered from my childhood or incidents that I remembered from my previous marriages and that sort of stuff, which humans are indelibly unreliable witnesses.
Yeah.
That's been proven over and over again in court that we're not very good at that. So if there's some things in there that didn't quite marry up, I reckon it's got a lot to do with the intent.
Yes.
My intent was to tell my story of my time in jail, and I tied some things from my past into it. Right?
Yeah.
I can't remember if stop me if I've told you this, but I have written for my new book a memory that I have of my dad having a fire at his school.
Yes, you have told me this. Yeah, I don't remember.
Have I told you it on air?
Maybe not. Tell the story still. You can tell the story.
So I have this really clear memory from when I was a young kid. I would have just been in primary school. My dad was a school teacher.
You were 19. You were held back a lot.
I was. It was because of the nickname.
Yeah, donuts.
Yeah. So you're not allowed to leave school until we can call you Scotty. I'm like, then I'm here forever.
I'm here forever, I guess. Yeah.
And I remember being at my grandparents' house. The TV was on, and suddenly we saw Dad's school on the TV, and it was on fire. Mm-hmm. And I remember the flames, like the red going up into the sky of the night and all that sort of stuff. I remember it. And I wrote a story about it because it's the day I think that my dad became my hero, because I saw him on the telly saving people, right, walking towards danger instead of away from danger. And so I showed it to him before I decided to try and publish it anywhere. And he read it and he said, "This is fantastic, son. Like, it's great. I just want to let you know that every single fact in it is wrong."
Oh, no.
Every fact.
Yeah,
like, what do you mean, every fact? And he's like, well,
I'm not your dad.
I'm not your dad.
I'm not your dad.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
No, he said, okay, so The fire happened at 2:00 in the afternoon, so it wasn't flames licking the night sky.
Yep.
You would have been at school because you were
Yeah.
at school. So you wouldn't have been at your grandparents' house. The school I was at was nowhere near your grandparents' house, so it makes no sense that you would have been at your grandparents' house for any reason if I happened to be at the school. So if everything else was right, that bit's still wrong. Oh, and by the way, they had a black and white telly. So if I'm wrong about the school and I'm wrong about the time and I'm wrong about you being at the grandparents, you still couldn't have seen red flames on a black and white telly.
But still, he said you wrote beautifully.
He said he told me you liked me. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
But so I think we're terribly unreliable.
Well, I don't think there is anything as a reliable witness because everyone comes with their own preconceived notions or whatever they're doing. So even like a writer here, like me writing this story today and bringing it to you, like there's all these preconceived things that we're bringing to everything. Like documentaries are like that. Like they choose what not to put in.
Yep.
Yeah, as much as what they choose to put in. So you've really got to look at it from that angle, really. Now, can I ask you this before we get into the story today, Scott Williams?
Ask it, yep.
Pardon?
Ask it.
Okay.
Do it.
Listen up, donuts. Are you
Stop winking at
Scotty
me.
boy? Are you happy to be on the other side of the couch today?
96% happy being on this couch.
Yep.
The 4% is that little space there.
Is that only 4%?
If I can encourage a little dog to come over here and sit with me, come here, buddy.
You know that you will.
Digsy, come here. Come on.
Come up.
Come,
Go.
baby.
Here we go.
Here we go.
It's back to 100%.
Look at this.
He ran at
Look
you.
at that. He ran at
And
me
you didn't
there.
flinch at all. Most people flinch. You're not flinching.
I'm not flinching. He's the best.
He's the best guy.
Yeah.
How good's this? Because you have always said that you've been jealous of people on the other side of the couch.
Yeah, because of this. Because of sitting
Because of
with
that guy.
the baby boy, with this big baby boy.
Every
He's
time.
going to go away because I made the mistake of giving him a goat horn and he's enjoying
He's
it.
really excited about it. But
absolutely
he
fine.
probably will come back up. He'll probably take the goat horn to you,
Yeah,
which you have already told me when you gave it to me. It will smell bad after 4 days.
About 4 days out,
Yeah.
you've got to throw it away.
Okay.
Now, I
This is
did
good to
come
know.
with an excellent piece of trivial information for you.
Oh, fantastic.
That I think's relevant to the podcast.
Yep.
I'm just enjoying you. Sorry if I'm not looking at you. I'm
Yeah, it's
enamored
okay.
with
I
your
understand.
dog. I love him.
Yep.
Friday the 13th.
Yes.
We've talked about that. I remember talking with G about how a lot of crimes happen on the 13th or on Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Friday the 13th is not a thing everywhere in the world.
What?
So in all of Latin America, so all of Central and South America and Mexico, it's Tuesday the 13th.
Really?
Yep.
So that's the spookiest time of the year,
That's-
Tuesday the 13th.
That's there. Friday the 13th is Tuesday the 13th.
I wonder why. Do you know why?
I do.
Oh, great. Okay. I thought that could have been. I was going to move along real quickly if you didn't know.
No.
This is great.
I
Where
do
did you
know.
go?
I do know. So in Spanish, Tuesday is Martes, which that's the word, and it comes from Mars. Mars was the Roman god of war and chaos.
And a planet.
And the planet. So it's believed that Tuesday the 13th was a thing a long time before Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Because they would say that on the day of the god of war and chaos, if that falls on a 13, then that's an unlucky day. And the reason why it's a 13 is because of an old Norse story about
Yes.
the gods.
Pronounced horse.
An old horse tale.
Yeah.
Of the gods had a dinner and there was 12 people invited to it, and Loki, the god of mischief, was the 13th, and he went
Vegas
uninvited. Yep. And he convinced somebody to murder one of the other gods. He convinced one god to murder one of the other gods.
Oh.
And so not only is that where they think that the 13 being unlucky comes from, but they also think that that story influenced the biblical story of the Last Supper, where there were 13 people and one of them betrayed Jesus. So that's why they think 13's unlucky, but in Latin America it's Tuesday the 13th, not Friday the 13th.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. I love
you go.
that.
How's that?
Good on you for remembering all of that as well without your clipboard.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's actually really impressive.
Will that change everything everywhere?
Everything.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Or is that just this story?
Just
Because I'm
this
looking
story.
forward to knowing about something that changes everything everywhere, Sammy.
Well, it's
Sammy boy, should I
Sammy
say?
Sammy boy. It's a really interesting story today, and I know that this is what they call in the true crime world a classic, because this is a story. I'm not going to say anything actually about this story, because it is one of those stories that I feel like the true crime community know really well. And I was going to tell this to G, and the fact that she's off this week is actually perfect because you don't know about this story.
Not at all. No.
That is fascinating and wonderful because You are going to be the perfect audience member today and one of the friends that we always talk to every single week when we put that third chair out.
All right.
But before we get into it today, I do want to say, if you want to leave a 5-star rating, 5-star review, go right ahead.
Why don't you? I dare you. I dare you.
I double dare you.
Yeah.
I will first. Yeah. You can also follow us on Instagram, Not Another Crime Podcast, and TikTok as well. The other thing you can do is watch us on YouTube if you want to do that. That's up there as well.
Amazing.
If you want a visual component of Diggs eating a goat's
Or
horn.
leaping at me.
Yeah, that's right, or leaping at you quite violently before. Also, I do want to say thank you to Oliver Clark for doing the music and Tamsin Hayes for doing the artwork. As always, this podcast comes out on a Monday, and every Thursday we have a Thursday treat, which is a bonus episode. Scott, are you ready for this week's episode?
I am ready.
I think this is one of the most fascinating true crime stories of all time.
I'll be the judge of that.
I've always found this case, as I describe, mind-boggling. That's the only description I really have for it. I'm sure if you're a true crime fanatic, then you've already heard this story before, but if you haven't, you're about to become as obsessed as I am. Once upon a time, not in a kingdom, but in a quiet Northern Californian town where mornings smelled like coffee and routine, a woman stepped out for a jog and walked straight out of the ordinary world. No dragon announced itself, no spell was cast. The street remained tidy, the houses patient. The neighbours unaware they were about to become witnesses instead of residents. But by evening, the simple rhythm of the day had broken. A phone lay abandoned like a glass slipper on the roadside, and suddenly the forest at the edge of town felt less like scenery and more like a question. Searchers followed trails as if they were breadcrumbs. Posters bloomed on telephone poles like paper lanterns of hope. And the story grew, carried from doorstep to television screen. The tale of a missing woman, a frightened community, and a mystery that promised monsters somewhere just beyond the trees.
I've just sat in silence then because it's beautifully written.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Very well trolled. No problem at all.
Trolled, you said?
No, not trolled.
Like a fairy tale itself.
It's like a fairy tale itself. Is there going to be more fairy tales in, like, is there Wicked Stepsisters and...
Wow.
Like
maybe you can point them out when they come.
Swamps and
there are Wicked Stepsisters.
Wishes and stuff.
Yeah, there's
I'm
Wishes.
excited.
Sorry about that.
All right, this is the real story of Sleeping Beauty.
That's right, yeah.
I thought I ruined Disneyland for GB. You're going to ruin everything. I love it.
Only, as with fairy tales, the danger was not waiting in the dark woods at all. It was hiding inside the story itself. On a brisk November afternoon in 2016, the stillness of Northern California was interrupted by something that immediately felt out of place. A woman left for a jog and never returned. The path she chose was one she knew well. The hour was unremarkable. No offence to other hours.
No offence.
No offence to
Which
other
hour
hours.
was it?
I'm not telling you.
Come on.
No, I'm keeping secrets.
Because I've got my own
I'm
opinion
keeping
about
secrets.
unremarkable hours. I think like 2:47 is
I'm not telling
really,
you. I'm not
okay.
telling you.
All right.
This was a sort of neighbourhood where days followed a rhythm, where predictability felt like safety. By evening, that sense of safety had curdled into fear. Along a quiet rural road, a cell phone was discovered on the ground. Earbuds coiled beside it, as if dropped in an instant. There was no sign of violence, no visible struggle. Just an eerie vacancy where someone should have been. And her name was Sherri Papini.
Sherri Papini.
Sherri Papini. Was it a
That's
crime?
fun to say, actually.
It is actually quite fun to say.
Sherri Papini.
Sherri Papini.
Sherri Papini.
Was it a crime of opportunity or something deliberate, carefully arranged? To understand what happened, we have to return to the beginning and trace the day from its ordinary start.
And this was only 10 years ago, Sammy. 2015.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not that long ago.
Like it was iPods and stuff.
There was iPods and shit like that.
Yeah.
And headphones.
Not Discmans like what we
Not
had.
Discmans.
No.
And Trolls. As well.
Trolls.
We'll go back to them in a minute.
Yep.
The morning unfolded without drama in the Papini household. It was Wednesday. Keith and Sherri were up early, moving through the familiar routine of dressing and feeding their two young children, a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. Shortly after 7 a.m, Keith left for work, where he was employed as an audio-visual specialist, maintaining and setting up technical equipment.
Right.
They are the terms. They are the terms I put it in. I'm not 100% sure what they do.
Audiovisual technician is.
But
Were
I
either
imagine
of the
they do
children remarkable, or were they both?
They were all remarkable. Everyone's remarkable in this
Children
story,
were
please.
just the time.
Just the time.
Just the time.
Only the time.
All right, understood.
34-year-old Sherri Papini, say it,
Sherri Papini.
remained at home with the children. She had previously been employed but had received a severance package substantial enough to allow her to step away from work for a time. I won't tell you which time. With two small children, so you're obsessed with that.
Yeah.
With two small children staying home, it felt practical, easing the pressures of childcare and giving the young family a manageable rhythm. Nothing about that morning suggested it would ever be a headline. Nothing hinted that by nightfall, routine would give way to uncertainty, and a simple jog would become the beginning of one of the biggest mysteries in true crime history.
Mystery in history.
History in history. Sherri had a standard routine at this point. She ran errands, usually did a workout later in the day. During the morning, Keith and Sherri messaged back and forth that day like they always did, trying to coordinate lives and the kids. It was just a regular day. No one would think there was anything out of the ordinary. At 10:37 a.m., Sherri asked if Keith would be home for lunch. He didn't see it right away. He was busy at work and didn't always carry his phone on him. This would be the last text message he would receive from Sherri that morning.
10:37 p.m. You told me the time, Sammy.
A.M.
You did it. 10:37 a.m.
A.M.
And I got it wrong.
Yeah, you got it wrong.
I called you out on it and I got it wrong.
A basic, simple text to mark the time before your life is turned upside down. He texted her back at 1:39 p.m. saying, "Sorry, long day."
Right.
Then radio silence. But this wasn't something that raised suspicions right away. Sometimes Sherri would be running errands. Sometimes she'd be on a long run. Not replying immediately wasn't something that would cause panic. When he got home at around 5 p.m., something was off. Normally, Sherri would greet him at the door with a big hug or kiss. Maybe his kids would run to him too. But the house was dark, and Sherri's car was still in the driveway.
I don't like this.
And the kids were still at daycare.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
When he called, they told him that Sherri never came to pick them up. So the daycare were like, "Oh, she never came."
And that's bad because
Yes.
having had a child who's at daycare, for every minute
Oh, it's
after
expensive.
it's like for every minute after 5 o'clock, it's $25 or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Not,
Well, maybe they would
that's probably
waive
the
that
most,
if they. Yeah, I don't know. But
probably
yeah.
not the most important thing for Sherri
No.
Papini's husband right now, but that would have been annoying.
That would have been annoying. This was strange. Sherri was reliable. She always turned up. But he didn't worry right away. He opened up his phone and looked at the Find My Phone app. He could see that her phone was about a mile north of their home. Easy. Keith would just go and pick her up and everything would be fine. It was by a mailbox on a trail and it was not moving. It was a rural road that Sherri liked to run along, but he couldn't find her. He started to get worried. Was she injured? Was she safe? The location of the phone was still pinging in the area. So he got out of the car and located her phone in some grass. So he got...
What I like about that is
Yeah.
something just pinged.
Something pinged.
I don't know what it was.
know.
It was one of our phones or something.
I know. It was-
Just as you said pinging in the area,
I
it
know.
went ping. I hope
It was
that
a bit
hurt.
scary.
I hope that came through on the mic.
Otherwise, it looks like you're just going mad.
Yeah, it does. I know.
The phone was undamaged and the screen was up and her headphones were neatly coiled on top of it. There were a few strands of blonde hair tangled in the headphones, which he assumed belonged to Sherri.
Right.
But that was the only sign that Sherri was ever there.
Wow.
At 5:51 p.m., Keith called 911 to report his wife missing. Within a few hours, this small-town case would become a national obsession. So who was Sherri Papini? At 34, Sherri's life appeared settled. Stable home, young children, a comfortable routine. But the road that led her there was far less polished. Sherri was born in 1982 in Redding, California, alongside her older sister, Sheila. always love that as a
Sheila
name.
Papini.
Sheila Papini.
Yeah.
Well, that was her married name, Sheila. Sorry. I'm not. Yeah. But she could be a Sheila Papini too. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we probably can find a way.
Probably
of knowing
not.
that.
We could
Anyway.
probably look that up. Yeah.
Accounts of their children, accounts of their childhood painted a troubled picture. Their parents reportedly struggled with substance abuse, and friends later described the household as volatile.
Oh, no. Poor little loves.
I know. One acquaintance recalled witnessing Sherri's mother, Loretta, drag her by the hair into the bedroom during an argument.
No. Don't like their mum.
Beyond fragments like that, many details remained unclear. But those who knew the family have suggested that both sisters grew up in an environment that marked instability. By 16, Sherri had decided that she'd had enough. She left home, dropped out of high school, and headed south to Los Angeles.
Right.
In the years that followed, she drifted between Southern California and the Bay Area, moving frequently and stayed with friends. Those close to her said that her relationships during that time often followed a similar pattern: intense, short-lived, and extremely turbulent.
Yeah.
Her sister reportedly disapproved of several of the men that she dated. In 2006, at 24 years old, Sherri married a man by the name of David Dreyfus. He was serving in the US Army as a platoon sergeant and was preparing for deployment overseas. By some accounts, the marriage was less about building a life together and more about practical benefits.
And I don't want to, be an armchair detective.
You can be that if you want.
But I just want to point out, Diggs just said it to me actually, that his surname's not Papini. So
No.
this may or may not
May or may not be.
may not end well.
Unless they both legally changed their names to Papini.
And they chose Papini.
Yeah. I keep stuttering over that, Papini. So building a life together more about practical benefits, particularly access to health insurance. Mm-hmm. It has been alleged that Sherri was undergoing medical procedures at the time, possibly related to egg donation complications. Those specific details are limited.
Right.
The marriage itself appeared unconventional. The couple did not live together consistently, and when Dreyfus returned from deployment, Sherri told him she wanted a divorce. It was a brief chapter, one that preceded the life she would later build with Keith. Keith Sutherland. Keith Sutherland. She would later build with Keith. A life that, on the surface, seemed far removed from the instability of her early years.
Thank goodness for that, though.
By this time, Sherri had already rekindled her relationship with an old flame, a man by the name of Keith Papini. Mm-hmm. They had met in middle school and dated in the 7th or 8th grade. They were each other's first kiss. Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
They had fallen out of touch.
That would have been a terrible kiss, though.
Terrible kiss, but beautiful at the same time.
Beautiful idea.
Yeah. Beautiful idea. Beautiful concept.
Yeah.
They'd fallen out of touch when Sherri moved away, but when she returned to Reading in 2006, they reunited. They went out for a first date and the spark was immediate. He thought she was really beautiful and she liked all the same things that he liked.
Awesome.
Keith was different from Sherri's past boyfriends. He was really kind and stable. A gentle person who seemed to treat her like a fairy tale princess.
Ah.
Yeah.
Locked her in a room with a spinning wheel.
Nice stuff. The nice stuff of
Put
that.
her to sleep for 100 years.
She's not spinning
Made
gold.
her live with dwarves.
None
of that?
The
None of
nice
that.
stuff.
The good princess stuff.
The good stuff.
Okay. Made her grow her hair real long.
That's right, yeah. He was there to whisk her away as a knight in shining armour.
Awesome.
The pair got married in 2009. They bought a house in a neighbourhood called Mountain Gate, which is just outside of Reading, and they had 2 children together. A son, born in 2012, and a daughter in 2014. By 2016, when this horrible incident occurred, Sherri seemed to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
She had a loving husband and a perfect family. She really threw herself into being a mother, always posting about different crafts that she was working on and going all out to make sure their birthdays were something really special. Everyone viewed her as a bit of a super mum.
Oh, I've got a funny feeling about this.
No, come on.
I do.
It it also seemed like a bit of an underdog story. This woman who had not had the easiest upbringing now had it all. So it was a shock in 2016 when Sherri disappeared without a trace.
And just imagine how quickly, as a husband or as a partner, someone who's had a long-term partner, how quickly you'd spiral when you couldn't find your partner.
My God.
It's terrifying.
And without a trace
The
as
idea of
well.
that,
Like,
and then finding a mobile and nothing else.
yeah.
Just be spinning. Oh,
Just
no.
spinning.
I feel sorry for Mr. Papini.
All that was left behind was her phone and the headphones. Did this have something to do with her past, something from her childhood, or one of the ex-partners in a fuel of jealous rage? Sherri Papini was a mother of two, a young woman with a carefully curated life. Family photos, a steady routine, a smile familiar to neighbours. And now she was gone. Not long after, Keith placed the 911 call. The landscape around Mountain Gate shifted from quiet to urgent. Search teams spread across scrubland and along the riverbanks. Flyers began appearing on community boards and storefront windows. Law enforcement delivered updates with deliberate restraint, measured words that contrasted with the strain visible on their faces. Helicopters circled overhead. Canine units combed the brush. Search and rescue teams on horseback retraced the area, beginning at the... I'm going to start that again, sorry. Hold on 1 second. Brush, I said
Like
brush.
starting from
The start.
It was 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canine units combed the bushes. Search and rescue teams on horseback retraced the area, beginning at the spot where Keith had found Sherri's phone.
And there's woods, isn't there? Because there's always woods.
There's always
Oh
woods
my
somewhere.
God. Yeah.
Investigators initially considered whether she had stopped at the community mailbox cluster along the rural road, a centralised bank of boxes serving nearby homes. But when deputies checked, her mailbox was still full.
Oh.
That detail suggested that she must have vanished before the day's mail delivery, likely sometime between 10 a.m. and noon.
Right.
Her last known communication, a text message to Keith at 10:37 a.m. fit within that window.
time zone.
So now you know the unremarkable time.
Was 10:37 p.m. or was it between 10
A.M.
and 12?
A.M.
Oh my God,
Somewhere around there. Yeah. That left...
I'll get it clean.
You'll
next
get it
time.
one day.
I will.
That left less than 90 minutes unaccounted for, a narrow gap of time.
Yeah.
Piece by piece, detectives began assembling a timeline. By November 3rd, the search had swelled dramatically. Hundreds of volunteers organised themselves into groups, methodically sweeping fields and roadways, scanning every ditch and thicket. They called out her name as they walked, their voices carrying across open land and fields. Local printing shops began producing missing posters free of charge, ensuring her face was everywhere.
That's very kind of the
It
community.
is
isn't
really,
it?
yeah. I think in Mountain Gate, the community really looked after each other.
A bit like Fountain Gate here.
It's
in
exactly
Melbourne.
like that,
Exactly the
actually.
same.
Exactly the same as
where
that.
Kath and Kim famously lived.
Fountain Gate. Beautiful part of the world. Do yourself a favour. The response reflected more than concern. It reflected identification. Sherri wasn't a distant headline. She was a neighbour, a familiar presence. For many in the community, the fear felt personal. If this could happen to her, it could happen to anyone.
Of course, yeah, of course.
And it was in broad daylight. And so they searched with urgency, united by the belief that bringing her home was not just possible but necessary. This was a year after Denise Huskins went missing. Another Californian woman. A quick overview of Denise Huskins, which I'll do as a story very soon. In March 2015, Denise Huskins was reported kidnapped from her home in Vallejo during what her boyfriend described as a violent overnight break-in. From the beginning, the case was met with skepticism. As details emerged and questions mounted, law enforcement publicly suggested the incident might not be what it seemed, drawing comparisons to the film Gone Girl.
Oh.
But when Huskins reappeared days later with a harrowing account of what she said had happened, the story took a dramatic and unexpected turn. One that would challenge early assumptions and spark national controversy.
Wow.
So Sherri's friends and family refused to rely solely on the official search. While law enforcement coordinated helicopters and ground teams, loved ones launched their own. Knocking on doors, speaking to neighbours, asking if anyone had seen or heard anything unusual. Did a car linger somewhere too long? Did something feel off that very morning? Fear settled in quickly. A young mother had vanished in broad daylight in a place where crimes like this did not happen.
That people felt safe.
People felt safe, and people began to imagine the worst. Within 4 days, Keith appeared on Good Morning America,
Wow.
telling a national audience that his wife had been taken against her will. He looked exhausted and visibly shaken. He insisted Sherri would never have left voluntarily. Not him, not their kids. At that point, he had no clear theory, only the conviction that something dark had occurred.
The only thing that worries me about that, Sammy boy,
Tell me, boy.
is the number of times you hear the husband say that in a story.
I know.
Right? I'm hoping that
she just comes home. I hope that she just comes home. You hear that so many
she's
times.
so reliable. Oh, she would never do this. Oh,
Exactly.
my goodness. I just hope that's not him. I've
Well,
got a little sad bit in my tummy.
Oh, don't
that
be sad.
Thinks it might be.
Don't be sad.
All right, I won't
Wait
be.
till the end to be sad.
Okay, yeah.
The family wait till
Buckle
the end to
in.
be sad. Yeah, the family set up a GoFundMe campaign and offered a $40,000 reward for information leading to her safe return. Online speculation intensified as the community searched fields and roadsides. Investigators turned to something less visible: Sherri's digital footprint.
Aha.
Phone records,
Of course.
text logs, and account data were scrutinised. That's when detectives noticed repeated contact with a number saved under a woman's name.
Oh.
Though it belonged to a man, Donovan Misk. The two had been communicating for weeks before Sherri's disappearance.
Oh.
When questioned, Donovan explained they had met about 5 years earlier at a work conference where he managed a restaurant. They'd gone out together that night and stayed in touch afterwards. He claimed Sherri confided in him about serious problems in her marriage, describing Keith as abusive. Allegations that raised eyebrows.
Oh, no.
Despite periods of silence, their communication resumed in April 2016 and became more frequent in the months leading up to November.
And he was saved in her phone under a woman's name.
Yes, yeah, to avoid it being
obvious
found
deception.
as Donovan Misk, which I think is such a cool name.
Donovan Miscellaneous.
Yes, that's right.
I'll shorten it
I've
to
got
Misk.
several Donovans in my phone. Text messages showed they had discussed possibly meeting in Reading the day before Sherri actually disappeared.
Oh.
Donovan said he considered travelling from San Francisco, but ultimately did not go, citing work obligations and a return flight to Michigan on November 2nd, the day that she vanished.
Right.
Investigators dug deeply into his timeline, travel records, conference attendance, flight logs. Everything was examined. In the end, his alibi held. The details checked out. For a moment, it seemed like a promising lead, but Donovan was cleared, and once again, the case had no clear suspect.
Wow.
Keith did admit that he knew about the text messages.
Right.
That she knew she was that he knew that she was flirting, and there was a part of him that wondered if she was meeting up with some other men. At least on one occasion, this led to a huge argument in the Papini household. Sherri insisted that these texts were just harmless flirting, but she had done nothing any more than that.
Is there such a thing as harmless flirting?
Wow.
Sammy Peterson.
I don't know. I feel like maybe there can be in certain circumstances, but it depends what the intention is
I think
and what's going on
in
someone's life.
circumstances where you're not married.
Yes.
Yep.
Harmless.
Go for your life.
Harmless as.
But I think if I knew that my bride was harmlessly flirting with
Bride.
somebody
Do you still
else,
call her your bride?
Yeah,
Yeah.
occasionally.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
When I forget her name.
Yeah.
I don't know how comfortable I would be with that, and I don't know how comfortable she would be either.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
I just think it's a little bit of a, especially you've saved the person's name under a different
yeah. Well, that's
name
yeah.
so that you can't get found out.
Concealing that is a very
There's a little
interesting
bit.
part of
It
that.
sort of takes it to not just harmless flirting, doesn't it?
Yeah. And this is not another crime podcast.
That's right.
That's right. Thank you so much. Keith was hurt, but he didn't want to get a divorce. He did forgive her. After many apologies, they did agree to work through them. As a condition of staying together, Keith decided it would be best if they both signed a post-nuptial agreement. Trust had been breached and they needed something in writing.
Wow, I didn't know that existed, post-nuptial agreement.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah, that you can actually get that done.
A prenup after you get married.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoops, I made a big mistake.
Whoopsie.
Sign that, I made a big mistake.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear.
Yeah.
The agreement would mean that the couple would decide to keep their finances separate and would each take what was theirs if there was a divorce. Investigators also had to confront the most difficult question. What about Keith? Mm-hmm. If Sherri had told others that her husband was abusive, that claim could not be ignored. Detectives began examining the Papini marriage closer, looking for cracks, patterns, anything that might suggest violence behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. Detective Wallace interviewed friends, relatives, and neighbours. One neighbour described frequent arguments and said that about a week before Sherri vanished, they heard a heated fight. During that exchange, the neighbour claimed they heard Keith shout that he was going to kill her.
No.
It was a disturbing allegation and one investigators took seriously.
Yes.
There were also other incidents to reveal. At a Halloween party a few years earlier, Sherri had reportedly told several people that Keith intentionally struck her in the face during a party game. Oh. But when detectives tracked down the other people who attended, they described it simply as an accident, Keith's arm hitting her unintentionally in the chaos of the game. Keith acknowledged that their marriage was not perfect.
Right.
He admitted that they argued, but he told investigators that Sherri could be the more volatile one during conflicts, sometimes throwing objects and escalating disagreements. Mm-hmm. Despite that, he maintained he loved his wife and he was desperate to bring her home. Mm-hmm. Importantly, Keith had a firm alibi.
Right.
He was at work at the time that Sherri disappeared, something that was verified.
Yep.
He cooperated fully with investigators, turning over records, answering questions without hesitation. Diggs, don't sneeze like that. Come on.
He's just gutted this warthog, Sammy.
I know, and it's disgusting, Diggs, that you've done that.
I don't mean to take... He's got the innards of the thing hanging out of his mouth.
Oh, Diggs, you've got that fluff all over your goddamn face.
Come on.
Pull yourself together, Diggs.
Stop interrupting, Daddy.
He was at work at the time Sherri disappeared, something that was verified. He cooperated fully with investigators, turning over records, answering questions without any hesitation, and declining legal counsel.
Wow.
Which is big as well, because
huge.
Usually you just go, you should probably always get some sort of legal representation.
Yeah, just
even if
someone
you're innocent.
in the room to go,
don't talk about that.
Yep.
He even submitted to a polygraph test and passed. Which doesn't really mean anything, whatever.
No. Yeah.
On November 10, just 8 days after Sherri went missing, Keith was officially cleared of any involvement.
Okay.
As the days dragged on, detectives chased lead after lead, tip after tip, but none led anywhere substantial. Some callers claimed to know where her body could be found. Search teams followed up, only to come up empty every time. Slowly the tone began to shift. The optimism that she might be found alive started to fade, replaced by a heavy, unspoken fear that time was running out.
Yeah.
The end.
And that's it. Yep. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back after this song from Missy Higgins.
Did you have a good time?
That was great.
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank
So no resolution.
No worries.
She's
no
maybe
worries.
dead.
No worries.
Yeah.
A new character I'm working on.
No
worries.
No worries. What's his name?
I don't tell you that.
What's his nickname?
I'm obtaining legal
Is
counsel.
it Donuts?
I'm obtaining. I want to talk to my lawyer. But then, Scotty boy, a miracle occurred. This is a post-credit scene.
Okay, I'm ready.
Now we get back to where this episode first began. Do you remember what happened?
Yes, there was a big semi-trailer truck.
At 4:30 a.m. Thanksgiving Day, November 24th, 2016.
Quite a remarkable time.
Quite a remarkable time. A semi-truck hums southbound along Interstate 5, roughly 150 metres from Sherri and Keith's hometown. The highway was dark, nearly empty. Then something flickered in the beam of the headlights. At first it looked like debris. Then it moved. A woman stumbled into view, sprinting towards the road, arms flailing, screaming for help.
Oh, my God.
The driver slammed on the brakes and pulled over. When he stepped out, he realised immediately this was not someone stranded.
No.
She was gaunt, trembling, barely steady on her feet. She had been branded.
Oh, my God.
Her face was swollen and bruised. A chain was wrapped around her waist, one wrist secured to it. Her hair, once long and blonde, was hacked off, uneven, in jagged lumps. He called 911. He handed her the phone. She was sobbing so hard she could barely form words. Then, through the panic, she said her name, Sherri Papini. For 22 days, her face had been plastered across television screens and missing persons flyers. But the woman standing on that dark stretch of highway hardly resembled any photos. She appeared starved, broken, branded, marked by something no one could ever understand. Branded.
That's awful.
Just awful.
Do you know roughly how far this site was from where she disappeared?
So it
it's
was
in the same area, isn't it?
Yeah, 150 miles.
Oh, that's quite a long way.
Yeah, quite a long way.
Yeah, righto.
So yeah, quite a long way away, and also on a highway as well. It just seems so insane. Yeah,
Crazy.
So her she was branded, marked by something no one could really understand at all. Of course, she's just sobbing. Of course, she is really deeply
Skeletal.
Oh my God,
savaged hair. Gosh.
She had only one request. Her husband, Keith. She wouldn't answer any questions, wouldn't explain. She just kept crying. For investigators, the shock was immediate. And so were the questions. It was extraordinarily rare for someone to escape.
Yeah.
Why release her now? Why here? Yeah. Sherri was rushed to hospital. Doctors documented dramatic weight loss, deep bruising, a chain still fastened to her waist. On her free wrist were marks consistent with zip ties. Her ankles bore ligature wounds from restraints that had clearly held her in place.
Oh, God.
After 22 days of silence, she was back home. But the mystery was far from over. There were bruises everywhere and her nose was broken.
Oh.
She was covered in a rash. The branding that they found was bizarre. It was extremely difficult to read, and what was kind of exactly there was really hard to answer. They thought it made something out like XER-DUS 622. But because of the scarring, the letters were really hard to make out.
Wow.
A toxicology exam was undertaken and didn't reveal any signs of drugs or any substances when they kind of examined her further, and did not see any signs of sexual assault.
So she got branded with the name of one of Elon Musk's kids.
Oh, yeah, perhaps. Yeah, that's the only explanation here. It was clear that Sherri had been through something hugely traumatic over the 20 days.
Oh, awful.
She was terrified at the hospital, scared of everyone. She was skittish around doctors and nurses, terrified of the police, and refused to say anything unless Keith was in the room with her. Mm-hmm. We later go on to find out that Sherri said that she'd been going... so at the time, what she said was that she had actually been sold to a police officer. So by her captors. And so this actually intensified her kind of fear of medical professionals and of law enforcement as well. So anytime a police officer came near her, she'd get absolutely terrified.
That sold to somebody makes
oh
me
my
feel
God.
sick.
Oh, disgusting. Ugh. 4 days later, she agreed to an interview, but only if Keith was sitting right with her. Mm-hmm. Sherri told them her version of what happened, and it was truly horrifying. She told them that she was out for a run, listening to music, saying that she was listening to Michael Bublé, one of the songs that was hers and Keith's wedding song.
Right.
And when she got to the mailbox, a dark SUV with tinted windows passed by her. The car then started to reverse up. She saw 2 Hispanic women. The woman in the passenger seat called out to her, so Sherri took out one of her headphones so she could hear them better. The woman in the passenger seat ushered her to come closer to the car. That's when Sherri recalled she saw a small revolver pointed at her.
Oh, God.
She couldn't remember exactly what the woman looked like, but she remembered the gun. The woman told her to put her phone down and come with them, saying, "We don't want to kill you." Sherri followed the instructions.
Yeah.
She put down her phone, yanked out some of her hair, which explained the hairs found in her headphones. So at this point, she was like, well, if I rip out some of my hair and leave it with their headphones.
Fancy thinking of that.
I know, my God, incredible. She said she did this intentionally so her family would know that she did not go of her own volition.
Mm-hmm.
After that, Sherri said that she blacked out. She couldn't remember getting into the car. Maybe she was tased. She wasn't so sure. The next thing she remembered is waking up with something covering her face and having a really bad headache. And her clothes had all been replaced at this point. She tried to stay awake for the ride but kept falling back to sleep.
In the car, they'd replaced her clothes
In the car.
already.
Yeah.
Wow.
The car smelt really bad, like sewage. Later, she said she woke up still with a pillowcase over her head, zip-tied in what she thought was a closet. She spoke about her captors, who she decided to nickname Taint and Smegma. Isn't that weird?
I love it because
Yeah.
we were talking just before, not on this episode, about why do we always give killers such good names?
Yeah, exactly.
Those are such
Taint and
awful-
Smegma.
Taint and Smegma. That's
Who were,
fantastic.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Which was the name of her human traffickers.
Yes.
Smegma is a natural buildup of dead skin cells, skin oils, and moisture that can collect in the fold of genital skin.
Thanks for telling me
So
that.
smegma, I just wanted, if you didn't know what smegma was, don't look up images.
Don't
Don't look up images, for God's sake.
no.
In males, it's most commonly... I want to tell you all this, Scotty boy. In males,
Sammy,
it's most
stop.
commonly found under the foreskin of the penis. In females, it can collect around the clitoral hood or between the labia. If it's normal and not harmful in small amounts, but this is just medical advice for everybody,
Thank
but
you.
regular genital washing, Scott,
Yep.
helps prevent excess buildup, odour, or irritation.
I'm 53 years old.
just
It's the
helping
first time I've
I'm
had a
just helping
friend
people.
tell
I'm
me.
just a good friend.
Yeah, you're a good friend.
Thank you for saying
Keep
that.
your genitals clean. It's
Thank you.
official advice from Not Another Crime.
That's right. The only ever medical advice you'll get.
Stay out of the woods.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Stay out of the
Keep your
woods. Stay
genitals
out of the
clean.
woods. The two Hispanic women wore bandanas so you couldn't see their faces, but one of them, Smegma, was much bigger than the other and a total sadist. They kept Sherri on all fours during the time and made her go to the bathroom in a kitty litter.
Oh, my God. And this is two women doing this to another woman.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Oh.
So sex traffickers is what they were described as. They fed her very little food, mostly cream of wheat, rice, and tortillas. For those not in the know, like myself, cream of wheat is a popular American brand of hot breakfast porridge made from ground wheat kernels.
Right.
Have you ever had that?
And tortillas.
Yeah. And let me just explain what smegma is one more time.
Okay.
No, I won't do
tortillas.
that. Tortillas.
Tortillas, not tortillas.
How do you say it?
Tortillas.
Tortillas.
Tortillas. Excellent. I love it.
Tortillas with cameron diaz.
What's a taint, by the way?
Pardon?
What's a taint?
A taint is
Told me what the smeg. I know what it is,
Okay.
but can you,
I'm not going to tell
you
you.
only told me about one thing.
And I just did that.
Yeah, you did just do that.
just did that.
It's about that big.
It's about that big, if you must know. You're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
She had really vivid memories and then couldn't remember other details at all. She could describe her room perfectly and the layout of the room with the pipe she was chained to in the closet. So that's like quite
Oh
specific
my
to go, oh my God, there was a pipe in the
in
closet,
the closet.
which is pretty uncommon.
Oh, that's awful.
I imagine. But nothing about the long car ride or many details about the abduction itself. She also talked about the really annoying music that was constantly playing. So she said there was really annoying music constantly
Not Michael
playing.
Bublé.
Definitely not Michael Bublé. Have some respect. Yeah. Like I said before, one of the captors told her that she would be sold to a police officer. And so that's why Sherri was so terrified of law enforcement right away. She also said some things that really didn't line up with her injuries that she had in the hospital. For example, she told detectives that she had gotten into a fight with one of her captors in a bathroom and that they had smashed the captor's... that she had smashed the captor's head against the toilet and that Sherri cut her foot in the incident.
Right.
But these injuries were not consistent when she was in hospital.
Oh, no.
Sherri also said that night before she reappeared that her captors had a big fight. She couldn't understand what they were saying, but she guessed that it was some kind of problem with her captivity. She heard a gunshot the next day, and then the smaller woman, we know as Taint, came into her room and drugged her. When Sherri woke up, the captor told her to get dressed while she placed a pillowcase over her head and took her outside to the car. After several hours of driving where Sherri fell asleep, she was told to get out of the car with one of her arms free. By the time she got the pillowcase off her head, the car had driven away. The interview in full detail...
They let her go.
They let her go. The interview in full detail was recorded by police. It was a far-fetched and wildly unheard of story. Not only that she was supposedly being trafficked to a police officer, but also that she had been abducted in broad daylight. Sherri's husband, Keith, stood faithfully by her side, ready to seek justice. After interviewing Sherri, the police said, "There is no information that would indicate that it is not true. We are working to solidify information, and that is why we are working on the sketches with the FBI, and hopefully somebody will be able to recognise the females in those and provide us with concrete information."
It sounds like foreshadowing.
Over the next few months after Sherri returned home, she was a nervous wreck, understandably. She'd go to therapy twice a week, sometimes bringing Keith along with her so that she would feel more comfortable. She had panic attacks and severe signs of PTSD. She couldn't drive. Even going to the bathroom by herself with the door closed would send her into an absolute spiral.
Wow.
Closed doors made her panic, and she was hypervigilant at all times. If she saw a stranger walking down the street, she would yell at her kids to come inside from the front yard.
Wow. Yeah.
They had to cover their windows with blankets because she thought she was being watched, and had to watch any meals being prepared for her because she believed they could have been drugged.
Wow.
The entire family was helping her recover from this unimaginable trauma.
It's a lot of trauma.
Oh my God, so much as well. Like so many other elements going on. Sherri was recovering, taking it day by day. But some people didn't quite believe the story. Some internet sleuths began to investigate it a little more. There were many, many questions. A couple of private detectives started following up on the plot holes. One of the big questions was why was Sherri targeted in the area that she was?
Yep.
The place where the incident occurred wasn't a private road. It was a crossroads. In fact, 5 separate houses in the area could see that spot near the mailbox bank really well.
Right.
It was an open enough area, and if someone kidnapped someone off the side of the road, wouldn't you want a secluded area without the possibility of witnesses?
Yes.
And why... Pardon?
Couldn't it just be like DS1 as well?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, of course. But why, after 22 days, did they suddenly decide to release her?
Yeah.
One of the early doubters was a man by the name of Tim Scarborough. He was an online blogger who, when he heard about what happened, thought that the location where it happened was really unlikely. He saw photos from the crime scene and something seemed really off. Her phone was really neatly wrapped up in their headphones. It didn't seem like they were dropped in any kind of panic. It
so
looked
like she
odd.
went, wait, I just...
Exactly, like she had time to drop them. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm ready.
Yeah,
Like that.
exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It looked odd. There was also a gravel around the area, but no scuff marks, no sign of struggle. There was also recovered security footage, which was taken the day of her escape. It was released a year after her return.
Wow.
The footage was really grainy, but Tom thought it was suspicious how she was running. She didn't look like she was in pain. She looked to be running freely and easily, more like she was on a jog. And he believed that her arm was not restricted. Both arms appeared to be free.
But the truck... Okay, I won't. I'll let you tell your story.
Your little story.
Yeah.
When detectives reviewed the footage, they believed that her arm was restricted, and because she was no longer bound at the ankles, it wasn't highly suspicious that she was running smoothly. Something else, and she was also a runner, so it's like, but something else was leaked. The sketches of the suspects.
Right.
The more the case seemed suspicious, the more the sketches of the 2 women did as well. One of the forensic psychologists stated that the 2 women had completely opposite features. They were both wearing masks, but one was older, one had bushier eyebrows, but she could describe them both really well.
Right.
She was never able to expand on anything, not their full faces, which suggested that maybe they wore bandanas the entire time. It was then posited that perhaps she made the two women up on the spot to try and hide something.
Right.
It wasn't a lot to go off, just a hunch. But then investigators got a big break. Some DNA results came back from her clothing from the hospital.
Oh.
There was female DNA, but there was also male DNA, but it did not belong to her husband, Keith.
Right.
And that was a huge inconsistency. Mm-hmm. She never mentioned a male, only the two women. And she never mentioned sexual assault. The DNA was uploaded into a database, but didn't get any hits. For years, it just sat there. They would periodically test it in the database, but again, no luck. Then, in late 2019, California authorized familial DNA search, which would check the genealogy of the DNA. So it would actually link it to any family members in the system.
Yep.
3.5 years after the kidnapping, in 2020, they got a hit on a male sample.
Wow.
It didn't match anyone specific, but the mystery man was a potential relative of someone in there. The person had two biological sons. James Riaz in California, who was 32 years old at the time Sherri disappeared. And you'll never believe it, James was actually an ex-boyfriend of Sherri's from a decade earlier.
Oh, my goodness. I had no idea where this story was going. I still don't have any idea where it's going. Can I just say, this is why you don't do 23andMe. You know those DNA tests that you can get in the mail and whatnot? And then they tell you what your genealogy is and your 5 Scandinavian and all that sort of stuff. The fine print, they get to keep your familial DNA.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Oh, and you could be done up for a crime.
Well, but they get to keep a database of your DNA.
Oh, forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
And also never commit a crime, everybody.
Oh, there's that.
Don't do that.
Also don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yep.
In June 2020, 4 years after the kidnapping, detectives went to collect James's trash. Specifically, an Honest Honey green tea bottle. Not a plug.
Right. Not a sponsor.
And not a sponsor. And it was a perfect match. After 4 years of searching, investigators had their first real lead.
Wow.
But how was he involved?
Yes.
James and Sherri had dated for a couple of years, even engaged, and they lived together for a while. James loved hockey, had a tough and rugged appeal, and was completely devoted to Sherri, although it fell apart. Fast forward 10 years later to 2015, and James was living a quiet life with his own apartment close to his family and living his own life.
Right.
Sometime that year, James was going through some old stuff and saw something that reminded him of Sherri. He sent the items to Sherri's parents, not knowing where she lived.
Yep.
Sherri reached out to James after that, and they began to rekindle their relationship over text.
Oh.
5 years after that, police were knocking on his door.
Mm-hmm.
2 investigators arrived on the doorstep. Detective Wallace and an FBI agent named Peter Jackson, not the filmmaker,
Peter Jackson,
arrived to ask questions about Sherri Papini.
It's interesting that you said, and I know you're a man of words, that they rekindled their relationship, not their friendship.
That's right, not a friendship.
Oh, dear.
James was a little spacey and distracted.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't answer any questions right away until Detective Wallace helped him to chase a pet bird that had escaped from under his car back into the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Random.
That was his,
That's really random.
He just said, I'm not going to help you until you help me
Tell
get
me-
that pet bird back in my house.
How do we even know it was a pet bird?
Normal stuff. Well, it's his bird. He said it was my bird.
He said it.
Yeah. Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know exactly.
We don't know
He
if
just
we want to
captured a
believe him.
bird.
Yeah,
we
that's
stole
right.
a bird.
Yeah, just stalling.
So Detective Wallace went to help James with the pet bird when Detective Jackson was wandering around the house, and something really sprung out to him. Mm-hmm. He noticed the exact layout of the house was the exact layout that Sherri described in her statement to police.
Oh.
In fact, it was like he was going through her statement line by line while he was walking through James's home.
Goodness me.
And he couldn't believe it. Right down to the unique closet that she was chained up in, which had a pole in the middle.
Oh, my goodness.
Detective Jackson decided to cut right to the chase. He told James straight up that they had his DNA. They knew that James was involved. He had two options. He could talk or lawyer up. And James said, I'll talk.
Wow. The people in this story don't like lawyers.
I don't like lawyers.
They do not, no.
So this is James's story.
Okay.
James told the story that he and Sherri got back in touch and began talking again. She told James the same story that she had told Donovan, that Keith was abusive and violent and that she had filed a bunch of police reports, but they weren't going to help her.
Oh.
It didn't actually look like these were ever filed. There's no physical evidence to base this on, but James believed Sherri and he had strong feelings for her. James gladly did whatever Sherri asked of him. As their conversations progressed, she said that she needed help escaping her relationship. She told him that she needed to get out of her house. At her suggestion, they started using burner phones so that Keith wouldn't know.
Oh, man.
On November 2nd, he drove to her in a rental car. Per her instructions, he had a friend rent him a Dodge Challenger so his own car wouldn't be identified. He met Sherri at the jogging spot, left her phone and hair behind, and then he drove back to his apartment where she stayed for the entire 22 days.
Wow. Okay.
If you haven't heard this story before, I'm sure your jaw is on the goddamn floor as this is unfolding.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Correct.
Now, Sherri never left, not once. He slept on the couch while Sherri slept in his bed. She boarded up the windows because she wanted it to be really dark. And look, he didn't ask a lot of questions at that point. I think you would.
I think I would.
He's even asking, can you help put my pet bird back inside to the detective? So why isn't he asking any questions here?
And
Be a bit more inquisitive.
The boards on the windows, love.
For what?
Sorry, what now? She's a master manipulator. Well,
Yeah.
sorry, I'll let you tell your story.
Well, he didn't really know what the end game was at that point. He wasn't sure how long she was planning to stay. He seemed to think that they might be getting back together. He did admit that they didn't have any sexual relations at the time. Or as G would call it, making whoopee.
Making whoopee.
Making whoopee.
No, they were too busy making boards for the windows.
Making boards of the windows, God. So James told investigators that Sherri was trying to lose weight while she was there, eating super small portions, and then asked James if he would help injure her. She asked him to bank a puck off her. He fired off a hockey puck into her leg. Another time she ran across the room without notice, straight into a hockey stick which broke her nose.
What the...
None of this was released.
Sammy Peterson. This is crazy.
Crazy.
This is a crazy,
It's wild, isn't
crazy story.
She was cutting her own hair, burning herself in cleaning supplies to get the rashes, and then she sent James out to buy a wood-burning tool, something to brand her.
All I wanted
Yeah.
was to sit on the couch with Diggs.
I know,
That's
and you've got
actually all I
that.
wanted,
You've got
and
that.
I've got it.
You've got it.
And you're taking me on a roller coaster.
An absolute roller coaster.
I mean, you're doing a good
Coaster.
job.
A roller coaster.
Don't get me wrong.
Thank you for saying that. He was the one that branded her on her right shoulder. He had no idea what the letters meant, and still doesn't to this day. And it kept coming. Day after day, new tasks for James, and he went along with it every time. He said that when she wasn't hurting herself, she was watching the news on her phone. James actually told his mum at one point that Sherri was staying with him, but I guess wasn't concerned enough to tell anyone when she saw her face plastered all over the news. This is a part of the story that's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
After about 3 weeks, Sherri told James that she was missing her kids and wanted to go home. Under her instruction, James asked his friend to rent another car, this time a Mitsubishi Outlander. Then James and Sherri drove back to Northern California. On the way there, Sherri tossed her burner phone out the window. So then she had everything in a backpack that she needed. She had chain, zip ties, all the things she needed to tie herself up before she ordered James to drop her off in a rural area so she could call out for help.
But why?
James said, I haven't talked to her since. Police believed him. All this added up.
Wow.
They kind of took a look into his credit card statements, what he said to friends and family, and it all lined up. He also had knowledge that wasn't made public. James also agreed to take a polygraph test and he passed. On August 13th, 2022, 3 days after the interview, James, Detective Wallace asked Keith and Sherri for another meeting. This was 4 years after the event.
Wow.
They show up probably thinking it's just an update on the case. Instead, investigators sat down with them and started showing Sherri some photographs. Photographs of a very unique layout and a very unique closet with a pool running through it. Mm-hmm. Photos of a bedroom with orange shag carpet and wood paneling, just like she described. We found the house where you were held captive, Detective Wallace said. Sherri looked at the photos for a rather long time and her reaction was strange. You'd think she'd be thrilled if they were closer to finding the truth.
Of course.
She started to play it off, saying the closet looked similar, but it was a little bit different. But she couldn't really describe how. They say that they'd spoken to the people that live in the house and know for a fact that she was there.
Oh, wow.
And then, Scotty boy, came the absolute bombshell. They told Sherri they had the DNA that connected her to the man who lived there and that he told them exactly what had happened. She had been there voluntarily for 22 days.
Yeah.
After 4 years, Keith very publicly supporting his wife, he was learning the truth for the very first time.
My goodness. I don't actually know what the truth is at this point, by the way.
God,
I'm going to need you to give me a summary at the end of what the actual truth was.
Keith begged Sherri to tell him the truth. Sherri broke down crying and didn't confess to anything.
Right.
Instead, she doubled down and kept insisting that she can't tell them the whole truth because it would put someone in danger.
Oh.
Sherri said that the woman who supposedly freed her, the good one, Taint, would be in grave danger. The good taint, if they ever found out the truth. Investigators reminded her that it was a crime to lie to authorities.
Yeah.
They reminded her that they had lots of evidence, they had DNA to support it, and they also had James's full confession. Yeah. Finally, she realised she was completely trapped and asked for a lawyer. About time.
Yep.
And the interview was over. No arrest. They let her leave. At least for now.
Right.
Everything was running through Keith's head on that car trip home, and what a long car trip that would be.
Oh, my goodness, I tell you.
All of the red flags that he possibly missed, particularly little lies that she would always tell him for no reason at all. He always pictured this as just being an annoying quirk, but maybe there's now something a little bit more serious to this. Then there's the cheating, the lies, and the abuse. Months go by, and they were still living together, and it felt like he was married to a stranger. There was a voice in his head that was now questioning the investigation. Mm-hmm. Was it all true? Why didn't they arrest her if it was? But what detectives were hoping for at that point was a confession from Sherri.
Right.
When they didn't get one, they needed to mount the evidence.
Yes.
To make the charges stick, they had to corroborate every detail. They had to start digging for more evidence. Yes, James's friend did rent the cars.
Okay.
His work scheduling, he was off work, so James was off work for the 1st and 2nd of November.
I'm resisting really hard telling you about the cars, by the way.
Oh, my God, thank you for
doing
doing
what
that.
I'm like, yeah.
And weren't his regular days off. Sherri also had a Pinterest board that she made before the incident titled Gift Ideas, where she probably didn't think anyone would ever look, but these were just
because it was
photos.
Pinterest.
Because of Pinterest, yeah, that's right. Terrible, not SponCon for Pinterest.
No.
Instead, the board were just photos of wood-burning tools.
Oh.
Which lined up everything with the branding.
Yeah.
Each of their discoveries built the case that James was the one telling the truth. He had been nothing but cooperative, and everything he told them had lined up exactly, and it confirmed that Sherri was the guilty one.
Wow.
And then there were the burner phones.
Oh, yes, I was going to ask you.
James had told investigators that he and Sherri had destroyed the burner phones that they were using to communicate during this time. Mm-hmm. This came directly from Sherri ordering James to do this to get rid of the evidence. However, just because the phones were gone didn't mean they couldn't be traced.
Right.
FBI used cell tower records. They were traced to the exact point where Sherri disappeared. The data showed 2 phones travelled south together all the way to James's property.
Wow.
It showed the exact route and call records from the 2 burner phones, and from that could follow this trail that confirmed everything James had told them.
Fantastic.
It was proof in their minds and in the pudding that James was telling the truth.
And in the pudding.
And in the pudding.
Also
on
in
your
the
catchphrase.
pudding. Yeah, I like it.
On March 3rd, March 2022, more than 5 years after the original incident, federal agents finally had enough to move forward and arrest her on charges of making false statements and throwing in mail fraud. She was held for 5 nights before a judge granted her release on a $120,000 bond. 6 weeks later, on April 18th, she entered a guilty plea and was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison.
Wow.
Sherri also agreed to pay $300,000, which would help to cover the police investigation, since it was all a hoax after all. She was also ordered to spend 3 years under supervised custody after her release.
Wow.
In August 2023, she was moved to a halfway house until September of that year. We know a fair bit about the truth of the Sherri Papini case, but there are lots of other questions. Why?
I think
Yeah.
I
You
might
did
have
ask that
mentioned
before.
Before you tell me why,
Yeah.
do you know what the charge actually was?
No, I think
It wasn't just being a hoax.
it was just. I think it was like a false, whatever, like
False reporting and
false
that sort of
reporting,
stuff. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry. Yes. Why? We want to know why.
So why did she do
why?
this? The
Yes.
messages before the staged kidnapping made it clear that she was looking for an affair. But what ended up happening is just bizarre.
Not that. Yeah.
She didn't end up having an affair, injured herself repeatedly, put everyone through the stress of her being kidnapped by 2 Hispanic women. And for what? Was it attention? She alleged time and time again that James was abusive, but was he really? She alleged time and time again that Keith was abusive, but was he really? There is no evidence to support the claim, although we do not know what goes on behind closed doors.
True.
And racism was also a large part of this. A theory was that it was Sherri being an awful person. There was a blog post Sleuth found from 2003. At the time, Sherri was just coming out of high school, and there was a vile post about getting into a fight with Hispanic girls and how proud she was that she broke one of their noses.
Right.
She went on saying that she was proud of being white. Now, Sherri has always denied that this was her, but this is just one of the theories out there that sleuths have since discovered. The way she described the Hispanic women was only based on stereotypes and nothing more. Another theory, she actually said, the music playing is awful Mexican music. That's what she said at the time.
Right. Okay. And they always have. I was going to say to you when she said they had bandanas on their faces. That's a bit cliche.
Yeah. Another theory was that it all stemmed from greed. She ended up collecting over $30,000 from the California Victims Compensation Board.
Right.
This was over the years. Her family also raised $50,000 for a GoFundMe campaign to help her. She never gave back. Keith never gave that money back. Keith used some of the money to pay off credit card debts after she returned.
Right.
Some have thought it was a way to kind of erase some debt, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
A lot of people brought up the theory that perhaps she had Munchausen syndrome, a mental health condition where people intentionally make themselves sick for sympathy.
Yep.
Investigators also found evidence that perhaps Sherri was also harming her children.
Oh, no.
Keith discovered this when his daughter told her that Sherri used to make her breathe in rubbing alcohol when she was sick.
Oh.
Sherri would soak rags in alcohol, put them in a Ziploc bag and tie them around their kids' necks so they would breathe in the fumes.
What the...
This would make them actually sick, and Sherri would then take them off to the doctor. Sherri denied this, but the speculation continues.
Yeah.
Sherri did have a traumatic childhood, that goes without saying.
Yes.
Her parents deny this, but people on the record have actually told that she is telling the truth.
Yeah.
Not that this is an excuse, but it's worth noting. To this day, Sherri Papini insists that she is not guilty, which seems strange when she pled guilty at first.
Yes.
She has released a book in 2025, which I absolutely do not recommend you buy.
No.
In the book, she claimed that she was having an emotional affair with James and that he took things way too far. She actually accuses James in the book of being the one who orchestrated everything. Keith filed for divorce and for custody of their children. The divorce was finalised in May 2023 when she was still in prison.
Yeah.
She has repeatedly said that he was abusive. She is hoping that with the release of a book, it will apply pressure to James, so that he will come forward and actually tell the truth.
Wow.
When asked about what she said about the two women, she said that James is Hispanic, and when she said it, she was hoping that the breadcrumb would lead officers right to him, which is insane. It's really disappointing for people who do not believe women in situations like this. Think Denise Huskins, who sadly has been called the real-life Gone Girl when she was actually kidnapped, not like Sherri Papini.
Yes.
And it makes it a lot harder to believe people in the future with what Sherri did. Sherri was not, and has not provided a rational explanation as to why. And that, Scotty boy, is the even more confusing than it needs to be case of Sherri Papini.
That has changed everything.
Has it changed everything?
Forever.
That's huge. That's huge for you to say.
It's huge.
Isn't it one of the most confusing stories of all time? You can know, now you know why it is such a big story in the true crime community. Yeah.
It just goes doom, 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 doom from like...
Did you suspect her early on? What were your thoughts?
No.
No.
I didn't. I suspected the husband.
Well, you'd think that in a situation like this, you think if she's told two people formally that he's abusive,
and
of course
you were painting a very good picture of a very happy household, right? And so there's always a bit of like,
what is actually going on behind closed doors?
What could actually be going on? That is a crazy, crazy story, and I think you're absolutely right that the impact, the negative impact it has having, the girl who cried wolf, for want of a better expression.
Yeah.
That when people actually do need to be believed, then there's these crazy stories out there that people go, well, no, hang on a second.
I know.
And when, I find it fascinating when people can just continue to deny in the face of clear evidence.
Yeah.
They can just continue to go, no. Nah, not me.
Just flatly deny it.
Not guilty.
And this had happened just after Denise Huskins. So Denise Huskins, the police treated her terribly. And we're like, well, what really happened? What really happened? You weren't kidnapped.
Yeah. So
they really didn't believe her. And then so Sherri Papini comes along.
Yeah.
And the police are ultimately like, well, we should believe you because of what happened with Denise Huskins.
Yeah.
But it just compounds the story. It makes everything worse.
And there's just no why. There's no why.
And that's the most frustrating thing. Yeah. There's a documentary about it where she is interviewed.
Right. So is it Lewis? Lewis put that on the spreadsheet?
Yep. Lewis, put it on the spreadsheet.
Put that on the spreadsheet, Lewis. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Lewis, put it on the spreadsheet.
Do not pop the book on the spreadsheet, Lewis.
Your book?
No, her book.
Oh, right. I thought you meant your book. You can put Scott's.
You can put Mr. Ordinary Goes to Jail on the
spreadsheet. Will Patterson as your pseudonym.
But don't put Sherri Papini's book on the... Please don't put that on the spreadsheet,
not on the spreadsheet. But it is so interesting to go, because she is interviewed in the documentary. Yeah. I kind of have had this thing. So I listened to Denise Huskins. I've listened to a lot of interviews she's done. She's on Call Her Daddy. She's on lots of different podcasts. She talks so openly about what happened to her, the trauma that she went through. I haven't gone to the same effort to listen to Sherri Papini because she's, that she's guilty, but it's so frustrating. And imagine her poor family that are going, but why did you do this? What is the reason? We still don't know.
It's when I first came on the pod to talk about
Another Crime Podcast.
Not Another Crime Podcast. Yep, link below if you want to listen to it. I said on that, if anybody was going through something similar that I was going through, please contact the pod. They'd get you in contact with me. Now, I've done that when I've been on other podcasts before I found the best podcast.
Thank you so much for saying that.
And so it's happened that 2 or 3 people have reached out in those situations, right? The first question I always talk to them about is, did you do it? Yeah. And if you didn't do it, then let's have an honest conversation about why the cops think you did do it. Because of the 3, I ended up going on a journey of helping one of them.
Yep.
And one of the big things with the other 2 was they were completely in denial about the part they played in their crime.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And so if you're going to, that's why I don't understand it, because I feel like no, if you've done it, there has to come a point
Yes.
where you take your lumps and you
Yep.
say, actually, yes, I was involved in this.
Yeah.
Whatever
absolutely.
it was, and don't. Yeah, and so I find that part of it crazy that we don't know what it was that triggered her. It's incredible how many of these stories have got early childhood trauma.
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the kids learn how to behave in this world from such an early age.
Yeah, so sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is, you hurt people. That's what they say, isn't it? That's a big thing.
A guy that I know did a really good comedy stand-up special.
Oh, is it available?
I think it's available on the YouTubes. It's called Why the Long Face.
By who?
His name's Sammy Boy Peterson. I think he's a donuts. I think he likes to be called
They call him Donuts for short.
They call him
Donuts for short because he always comes up with nothing.
That's
Donuts.
donuts.
That's right,
But he talks about how hurt people. And
oh, God, they do all the
they
time.
do. But there is.
I agree with that guy. He sounds awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Awesome.
There's a way out. I think
Yes.
there's a way out of it, though. Like
Absolutely.
people have had trauma. Like my parents divorced when I was young. There wasn't abuse or violence in our household.
Yeah,
But you know what? When I went to talk to a therapist, I talked about it.
sure.
But I was lucky because I'm white, straight, and male and live in Australia, and so I got the help I needed.
Sure.
And so many people don't get that, and it's a really sad thing that a lot of the time.
It's so sad.
Mm.
And it's so common
Yeah.
as well. It's so common. And you go, oh my God, like Sherri Papini was really hurt. There's a lot, whether or not that's true, but it sounds like it is true. Whatever someone goes through, you kind of had to understand that. And I think in doing this podcast, I've certainly put a lot of talking about someone like the Green River Killer and going, here's lots of information about what he went through.
Yep.
It's not an excuse.
It's not an
It's
excuse.
just really interesting to see that the way character is built and the person that they are and everything. That is really
The
interesting.
context is fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not always. It doesn't amount to anything in
Yeah.
the end of what people go on to do.
Yeah.
Hurt people, but you don't have to.
But you don't have to.
That's always say.
No excuses for what I did, right? My sister and I got brought up exactly the same. She didn't steal. So, you can be brought up exactly the same way and still go off the path that you were meant to be on.
Yeah.
And end up being the Green River Killer or...
Sure, my God. But I just think the Sherri Papini case is one that I've just been fascinated with for ages, and the documentary is, if you want to watch it, Lewis Property and Spreadsheet. It's very.
Do you know what streaming service it's available on? Not a sponsor.
His spreadsheet is available on Excel.
No, not his spreadsheet. The documentary.
I think it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Not a sponsor.
We'd love a sponsor if you want to be involved.
But get in touch with us. Netflix.
Get in touch if you can.
One
We'll
of
wait.
us wrote a really good memoir that'd be
That's
a really
true.
good Netflix series. So get in touch with us.
Yeah, we'll wait.
With us.
The switchboard is
Now.
Yeah. But I just found it really fascinating, and hearing her talking is difficult because you go, if you know the story, you go, well, what am I meant to believe?
Yeah,
here? What is true and what is not? And it's really hard to really understand.
And she sounds like she just
on.
was very manipulative, and she's continuing to be manipulative.
Yes, and I think that's the problem with her book and everything now.
Are we going to put energy into that?
Well, yeah.
When we could put energy into something like a mailbag, Sammy.
A beautiful mailbag, and what a great
Was that a good segue?
That was really good.
Was
I really
awesome.
enjoyed that.
Look at this love. Can I just tell you? Look at this love that I'm getting from Diggs. I don't know if people can see him on the camera right now, but this is
a photo of you guys.
This is a very happy moment.
It's actually really beautiful.
Scott Williams.
I know, it's really nice because you boys are just chilling out.
He's just chill.
Just on the podcast. And we have some wonderful internet letters. Of course, if you want to write in, we want to hear from you. You can leave us a voicemail. G will be back very, very soon, so you can leave us a voicemail. All the links are below. You can also email me, sammy@justanothercompany.com.au. Leave a 5-star review, leave a 5-star rating, share this podcast.
Yeah.
Why don't you? Share this podcast with a friend.
Speak pipe us.
Yeah, I've said that already.
Did you say that already?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
I've said it already. We've got...
I gotcha.
The wonderful Rhea writes on the Oscar Pistorius episode. Great episode. I'm really impressed by their neighbours all calling security. No bystander effect in this case. If only emergency services had arrived in time. We've got Dash who writes on the Lindy Chamberlain and Azaria Chamberlain episode. Wow, Georgia truly is a journalist. What a fantastic balanced presentation of the crucial parts of the story that nobody talks about.
Let's just give a quick plug too to George's other
really
podcast.
Is. Oh, yeah.
She's
Oh, my God.
actually a fantastic journalist and an amazing storyteller. The new season of Everybody Has an Ex is out.
Everyone Has an Ex.
Everyone Has an Ex.
Yeah.
My apologies.
So
we'll get it
you
claimed
got it
in
so
a second.
close. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Everyone Has an Ex.
Yep.
I've been listening to the start of this season and it is absolutely fascinating. It's beautifully told.
Yes,
It's beautifully produced. It's really excellent.
It's so fantastic.
So
and I
check
just
it
love
out.
that. We've got Sherri writes on the Diane Brimble episode, I'm loving the Paudry Peeve segment. It was much needed after today's episode. I can't imagine a worse verdict for such a horrific crime. The man isn't fit to judge a TV show, let alone a criminal case. So yeah, that's the judge that presided over that case. Not good at all. This comes from Claudia. Just listening to you speaking about the one pic you take a day on the Azaria and Lindy Chamberlain episode. So I take a picture every day. I like to just have a moment from every day that I take a photo of.
Okay.
And I think you'd love that. Be Real.
Oh, yeah.
I have heard of Be Real before. I should actually do this. It's a fun way to collate one image per day in one place. And at the end of the year, you can look back at what pic you took each day of the year. The prompt to take a picture comes through as a notification at a random time of the day. Same time for everyone using the app. And when taking a photo, you take a selfie and one using the front camera at the same time.
We two of my mates and I did this for a little while.
Yes.
For real, and it just ended up that 80% of the photos were all of us just at our desks at work.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's the harm of it.
It's like,
oh, no, there's still something
here we are at
boring
our
happening.
desks.
yeah. I take it as something exciting. Well, today it's you and
no,
Diggs.
that's it.
Is that?
Perfect. That's good.
So, yeah, great to remember memories. It's also a casual way to connect with others as you can add friends and see what each other's pictures are of the day. Claude, this is Shana, a follow-up email. Hello, guys. Thank you for the recommendations. I did read this before I travelled, so thank you so much. Also, they were going travelling and wanted to catch up on all the episodes. I'm now back catching up on the missed episodes, but thought I'd let you know what we saw while in London. So many shows were sold out, but we did see the Book of Mormon, which was hilarious, and Six. So G always talks about Six and the Book of Mormon, which is in Melbourne at the time of recording.
Yes.
And I believe probably the time this comes out. It is so effing good. I've just listened to the episode about Disneyland, and thank goodness I didn't listen to this while away as we went to Disneyland Paris literally a couple of days after that episode dropped. It was amazing, but I would not have gone on any rides if I had listened before. That's so funny. So yeah, Scott did an episode about all of the deaths at Disneyland.
And murder at Disneyland.
Murder at Disneyland, yeah, which is fascinating. Go back and listen if you want. We can put it on the spreadsheet if you want.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah.
We can do something like that.
Something.
But yeah, but so funny. But what about this one? This comes from Sarah G and Sammy. I'm still loving the podcast as someone with self-diagnosed ADHD. Sticking with a podcast and waiting for bi-weekly releases has never worked well for me, so kudos to you both.
That is a big compliment. That is
Huge
a big
compliment.
From someone whose life is side quests.
Oh my God, that's huge.
Yeah.
I really love the episode about Dean Coral because I'd never heard of him before. I have an extensive list of cases you guys should cover amazingly, but I'll give you one for now. The case of Carly Pierce Stevenson and her daughter Candelise. It spans over 5 years and 2 states and weren't identified, let alone linked for quite some time. There's a great book called Lost Girls by Ava Benny Morrison about these murders, which is a fantastic read in itself. Wishing you all the best for your horse year. Love you both greatly and can't wait for you to do a live show. Wink. Wink. How nice is that? I love that.
Excellent.
But yeah, waiting for the horse year. Are you feeling like this is the horse year for you?
I'm feeling like this is definitely. I've
It's
got
the
a horse
horse. You got a
lying
horse.
next to me.
Yeah, that's right.
Just snoring gently. So yes.
Well, let's go to one more. Sarah, hey guys, I have a suggestion for an episode. Graham Thorne. He was kidnapped in 1960 and was actually the first child to be kidnapped for a ransom in the country.
Yes.
Have you heard of this one?
Yes.
The government actually had to quickly make a law so the perpetrator could be charged and sentenced.
Yep.
There's a great book called Kidnapped by Mark Tedesco, QC, that talks about the whole thing from when he was kidnapped to the resolution of the case. Let me know if you'd like me to send it to you to borrow.
I've read
That's
that
very
book.
nice.
That's a very nice offer. I have actually read that book. That's
Oh, yeah?
how I know about that case. It's a very good
amazing.
book, yeah. So I would take her up on that offer because I'm not letting you mind.
You never would. I've never heard this case in all true crime I've listened to, and this was the first book I ever read about true crime, and it's what got me into the genre.
Yeah.
Love the podcast, and I listen faithfully every time an episode drops. I love that. That is beautiful. And also, like, I'd love to borrow that book, actually, but you know what? Maybe I'll ask Scott if I can borrow his book first.
No.
Okay. I'd love to borrow your book, Sarah, if that's okay, because Scott won't give me his. Whatever, Trevor. If you want to leave a 5-star rating, 5-star review, go right ahead. Leave me a voicemail. Leave me an email. All the links are below. Scott Williams, have you got a Paudry peeve for me today?
Oh, look, I've got a list in my head.
Of course.
Of Paudry peeves.
You like G, who just has a list going over in her head over and over again.
I saw Hugh, which is the Hugh from Love Actually.
Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant.
Oh, my God.
Was interviewed by Drew Barrymore. And
Yes.
she said to him, have you got a gratitude journal? And he said, don't be ridiculous. I have a list of things I hate.
Yes. Yeah. Great. Great. Yeah.
That's absolutely perfect. I love it. Have I got a Paudry peeve for you?
Yeah.
I'm sure I do. Do you have one? Give me a
I've
moment.
got one. It's always one utensil in my drawer that is just like inexplicably wet. Like this is always, I've just always got some sort of like, there's always one wet item in my, and I'm like, they're all dried the same. They're all in the dishwasher and one item is just always wet and you pick it up to use it and you go, God damn it.
Well, you're a bit damp. What, have you
I'm
talked to, have
You're
you
a bit damp.
had a word to your dishwasher about it?
I haven't yet, but maybe I will tonight.
Listen.
I'll go, listen up.
Listen, people. Okay, in our house, we're sandwich folk.
Uh-huh.
We love a sandwich. We love a club sandwich.
I love that. Oh, my God.
Yeah, love a club sandwich.
Yeah.
And we love to make some specific sandwiches at home. I love to make a cubano, which is delicious. It's like ham and Swiss cheese and mustard. And the movie Chef that Jon Favreau did, that's the sandwich he makes, cubanos.
Oh, I see.
But I have an issue with sandwiches. Like sandwiches were never meant to be more than $8.
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I went to the Great and Good Chadstone Shopping Centre, not a sponsor, recently.
Oh, my God, no.
And the delicatessen there makes delicious sandwiches.
Yes.
They're $23.
Yes, too expensive
Now,
for
come on, people.
Sanger.
Like a sanger was always meant to be under $10.
Yeah.
So I
want a sanger and mash.
That's it. I want to just start a petition.
Yep.
Because you know who's holding the line? You know who's holding firm? Bung me.
Yes. Yeah.
You never pay more than $10 for a bung me.
Take a leaf out of Bung Me's book.
Take a leaf out of Bung Me's book and keep your sandwiches at a reasonable price, people.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've always wanted to start in CBD, Central Business District. I've always wanted to start like a bakery salad roll.
Right.
That's it. That's all you sell.
That's
$6.
One thing.
Yeah, $6.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
I love the idea of that.
Easy stuff.
I love the idea of going to a restaurant that's just
ordering a salad roll.
I would just call the restaurant dinner.
Great.
Right? No menu.
Tea. What about just tea?
You come in
Yeah.
and you have dinner. And that's it.
So good.
Whatever the chef's made that night.
Oh, my God. I love that.
That's it. Dinner. Come in,
Just
have dinner.
Whatever. Go home. You said it on the menu. Go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Step
hard.
3, go home.
Go home. That's it.
Go home.
Hard
That's it.
and then go home.
That's really good. Have you enjoyed
both.
sitting with Diggs on the couch today?
Oh my God, I'm not moving, Sammy. I'm staying the night.
Oh, my God.
He's
the best.
just beautiful.
Oh, he's just the best guy. He's got some fluff on his mouth as well because he's just attacked some toys.
He's guarding his goat horn.
Guarding his goat
I think
horn.
if I went to move that, he'd go from asleep to awake really fast.
Try it.
No, I don't think
See what happens. You can do it.
Hurting my bite, my heart.
He won't.
Whole arm.
He won't.
No, he won't.
Look at that.
Oh no, we're good.
No,
I'm not even going to gnaw on it now.
he wouldn't even know.
No.
He doesn't know what's going on. That boy.
I'd like to gnaw on it, but I'm not going to because I gave it to him as a gift.
That's right. You can't take that back. Scott, thank you so much for joining us on Not Another Crime Podcast as the third host. G will be back next week, but you'll be back very bloody soon.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Loved
God.
it, as always.
Thanks, everybody. And as always, we say on this podcast, would you join me in being TikTok Book Talk
Stars?
Beautiful. Thank you. That was great. Thank
Woo.
you.